Let's just wait for everything to wake up. It looks like things are waking up. This is powerful, man. It's like watching the world come to life. It's pretty amazing. The internet has given us permission to do this once again. How copacetic is that? How groovy? Yes, we are doing it. Oh, wait, let me just make sure. Yeah. All right. Beautiful. What's up, everybody? Good afternoon, good evening, good day, salutations. Whatever's going on where you're at, I hope it's amazing. It is Wednesday, June 10th in this quarantine year of our Lord 2020. And I hope all your dreams have come true, really. Before we get into it, let me thank everybody who makes this show possible. First of all, ZT.com, ZHITEA.com. Their tea kind of rules. They supply the tea to Get Your News On with Ron, and they make amazing teas. They got black teas, green tea, raspberry teas. Graham Elwood has a tea. It's the Vigilante. Does Ron Placone have a tea? No. Folks at ZT, they don't want Ron to have a tea. I don't know why. Hurts a little bit, but I still love their tea. Order some tea wholesale, ZT.com, ZHITEA.com. Also, Trendiest Dabbers, our friends over at Trendiest Dabbers, thank you so much for the care package, the recent care package. Trendiest Dabbers makes CBD pain oil that has done wonders for my neck. It's really effective pain oil. I know you guys know this because I talk about it a lot, but I was in a car accident in 2013. My neck has never been the same since. Will probably never be the same. This oil really helps a lot, though. So that's great. Thank you guys for that. And in the care package, you included some guitar picks, which I appreciate very much. That was a very nice touch. And last but certainly not least, the Civvy app, CIVVY app.com. It's a new app that compartmentalizes civic issues. It kind of tells you how different issues affect your life and why you should be in tune with them. It also compartmentalizes which candidates and nominees are best aligned with your view of the world, and it's hoping to be a hub for independent online-based media. So it's a cool new experiment. There's no political bias. They're just giving you the information to kind of better sift through. So CivvyApp.com, CIVVY app.com, and you can go ahead and get that app. All right, without further ado, guys, it's hump day, and this was trending on Twitter this morning. Now, this is something most of the time I would ignore something like this, but in this particular, for instance, I was a little intrigued. I'm going to tell you why. So this is trending on Twitter right now. 27% of Americans, which I was like, well, why is 27% of Americans trending? Well, it's trending because 27% of Americans believe Donald Trump to be a man of faith. And you see some of the tweets here. I have absolutely no faith that 27% of Americans who think Trump is a man of faith even know what faith is. Faith. 27% of Americans believe God sent Trump here, that Trump's a man of faith. Proud Socialist tweets out, 27% of Americans think the man that embodies the 7 deadly sins is a man of faith. Now, the reason I bring this up is not because 27% of Americans think that Trump is a, quote, man of faith. And I find that fascinating or worth talking about. What I find worth talking about is apparently more than 27% of Americans think that being a, quote, man of faith is automatically some badge of honor or some good thing and something to be celebrated. And my response is, who cares? Well, what is, I mean, being a man of faith or not a man of faith doesn't make anybody any better or worse than anyone else. If a man of faith just means you have faith, you have beliefs. And if you do, that's fine. That's totally fine. You have religious beliefs, that's fine. That's your choice, that's your right. As long as you don't use those beliefs to infringe on anybody else or hurt anybody else, do your thing. So man of faith doesn't automatically mean you have, it's not some badge of honor. It's just something about you. It's like being like, I'm a man who enjoys basil fried rice. I am, by the way, and I make a damn good basil fried rice. Who gives a shit, though? What does that mean? What type of a president am I going to be based on that one fact about me? I'm a man of Beatles. I like the Beatles. I'm a man of the Beatles catalog. I'm a fan of it. Who cares? I mean, and if it's one of those man of faith, man of reason, first of all, you can be both. You don't have to pick. But if you're going to be one or another, if you can only be a man of faith or a man of reason, I would prefer a man of reason in the White House, because reason says, hey, climate change is happening. It's real. It's upon us. We're approaching catastrophe. We got to do something. That's reason. So I'd prefer a man of reason in the White House if I can't have someone who is either both or just one or the other. So why does it matter? 27% think he's a man of faith. Who cares? And maybe he is. Trump might have religious beliefs. I have no idea one way or another. I don't care. Well, the way he acts, he doesn't seem like a man of faith by the way he acts. Really? You think everybody who has religious beliefs acts great all the time? Do you really think that's the case? You think that just because someone has religious beliefs, they act great, and somebody who doesn't, they're just heathens? But first of all, that's not true. That's not the case. I know some great people who are atheists. I know some horrible people who have religious beliefs, and vice versa. I know some great people who have religious beliefs. So, and it's one of those things like it doesn't, we put it on this weird pedestal where it doesn't deserve to be on anything. It's not, I mean, there was that debate where Ricky Gervais was debating Stephen Colbert, and Stephen Colbert, he's a very proud practicing Catholic, and he'll let you know. And Ricky Gervais is an atheist, and also Ricky Gervais will let you know. He's very outspoken about that. They're both outspoken about their beliefs, and that's fine. And they debate it sometimes. And Stephen Colbert really came ready for this debate. He was gonna, and in my opinion, Ricky Gervais won that debate very handily. And one of the things that he said was, he was just like, look, Stephen, you believe in one God. And Stephen was like, yep, I sure do. And he goes, okay, there are 3,000 gods. You believe in one of them. That means there's 2,999 other gods that you don't believe in. So at the end of the day, in human history, I believe in one less God than you do. So why is it relevant one way or another if Donald Trump or whoever else believes in one more God than I do, or one more God than other people? Now, what would be interesting, what would be quite like, wow, that's fascinating, is if we find out Donald Trump believes in all 3,000 gods. That'd be a news story I would tune into. He'd be like, all 3,000 of them, I'm on board. And it's like, really? He's like, yeah, they're all the best. I don't pick. I have the best beliefs because I believe in all 3,000 gods. I'm number one. How many gods do you believe in? I believe in 3,000. That I would be intrigued by. And maybe, since being a quote man of faith is such a big deal, that's who's going to win the 2020 election. One of them, Biden or Trump, needs to come out and be like, I believe in all 3,000 gods. I have faith that's coming out of my freaking eyeballs. I shit faith. 3,000 gods. I believe in all of them. I think all of them, because, look at how big the earth is. There's plenty of room for 3,000 of them to just kind of keep shit in order. And we just hear the stories at different times in different places, but all 3,000 of them are rocking the house. And they're kind of like, wow, humanity, you're getting a little out of order. 3,000 of us are trying to keep an eye on you, and you're still going nuts. You want a man of faith. You find me someone who believes in all 3,000 of those gods. Find someone who can name them all. I can't. I don't know. There you go. Who cares? Well, some people believe Donald Trump's a man of faith. Other people don't. Who cares? How's it relevant? Let's look at how he governs. Let's look at how he just put American people under martial law. How he militarized his own people with the National Guard. That's what Donald Trump just did. And you care about whether or not he prays? Who cares? It's irrelevant. Find me someone who believes in all 3,000 gods, internet. Find it for me. All right. So anyway, that's my take on that. And, all right. So this is going on in Tucson, Arizona. You notice I have a shirt that's from Tucson, Arizona, the Extinction Rebellion over in Tucson, Arizona. They recently passed an ordinance that infringed on citizens' rights to film police, which great timing. Great timing. Amidst everything that's going on, Tucson was like, I know how we can make this worse. You can't film cops anymore. Well, there's been such a backlash about this, including, I believe, let's see here. There's been such a backlash about this. Ice Cube was among the people tweeting about it. And there's been such a backlash that the city had to respond to this. So Tucson, Arizona, they made this ordinance that you couldn't film cops anymore, or there's restrictions as to when you can film cops. And this received such backlash that they had to respond. And here's what they had to say. All right, so city leaders explain ordinance after online backlash. Here's their explanation. So amid heightened police scrutiny, the ordinance recently came under fire. A Tucson ordinance is at the center of a social media frenzy. The ordinance makes it illegal to film police scenes under certain circumstances. So in a tweet last week, the RD Marxists claimed the Tucson City Council passed an ordinance making it illegal for citizens to film Tucson police. And Tucson Mayor Regina Romero was quick to chime in, saying, that's misinformation. She included a link to the ordinance. Ice Cube tweeted, please make sure it's pro-people and not pro-law enforcement. Y'all should have an emergency meeting to make sure you're satisfying the great citizens of Tucson and surrounding areas. I love it there, and I'd hate to miss it. Okay, so here's what the actual policy is. Hold on, So here's what they're saying. This has zero to do with the current protest. It was put in place long before any of this was envisioned. This was put into place because there is a small group of people who were interfering with legitimate Tucson Police Department work. Doing so, they were putting not only their lives in safety, but those of the officers. All right, so here's the ordinance itself. Sorry, I had a hard time scrolling for it there. Here's what the ordinance states. Police officers or community service officers conducting law enforcement activity, investigations, and other police-related activities may restrict individuals from physically entering crime scenes or areas immediately surrounding where such enforcement activity, investigations, and other police-related activities are taking place. Guess what, Mayor Romero? Guess what, Tucson City Council? Not good enough. You want to sum that up real quick? Not freaking good enough. First of all, police officers or community service officers conducting enforcement activity. Let's stop right there. What that means, what does that mean? That could mean anything. Conducting enforcement activity. That could be anything from investigating a murder scene to brutalizing a peaceful protester. That's, quote, considered enforcement activity. That's why we need to defund the police and completely reinvent what it means to have police in our lives. But that's a different story for a different day. We've been talking about that a lot. Investigation and other police-related activities may restrict individuals from physically entering crime scenes. Guess what? They already restrict individuals from entering crime scenes. You see that all the time. They block off crime scenes. Hey, a murder took place here. We don't want to mess with any of the evidence, so we're blocking this off. And guess what? The public can't enter. Why is this ordinance necessary? That already exists. You can't just walk around a murder scene like derp, derp, derp. You can't do that. That's blocked off. Now, if you want to stand where the caution tape is and film, why is that a problem? Why can't people do that? Investigations or other police-related activities. Again, this is very vague. Other police-related activities. That could be anything. So basically, this ordinance, even though it doesn't directly state the verbiage, people cannot film cops, This allows a police officer to stop you from filming them at any time. And that does nothing to make a community more safe. I think it was Will Smith who tweeted it out. Racism in law enforcement isn't anything new. They're just catching it on film now. This has been going on for generations. And it's been going on for a large number of reasons. Systemic racism in our society, in our world. It's been going on because organizations like the KKK and neo-Nazis decided decades ago that they were going to put on suits and infiltrate different systems, i.e. law enforcement, and become cops. That's been going on for decades and decades now, and nothing's been done about it. We know about it. We know about it. We know that there's KKK members with badges and guns. You think they became cops because they want to serve and protect? No, they became cops because they want to brutalize black people and people of color. That's what they want. And now Tucson's saying, well, you can't film. You can't film police officers. And yes, that is what this ordinance does. And now they're trying to put a bow on a turd, and we can't let them do it. This ordinance needs to go. No exception. How is any of this necessary? Because it's so vague, they can just stop you from filming them at any time. They're like, oh, no, it's only in certain circumstances. What circumstances? Enforcement activity or, other police-related activities. So you mean anything? Yeah. Yeah, basically anything. You just can't film them at all. That's really what we're saying. And now they're saying, well, there have been 0 citations or arrests made under this ordinance since it was adopted in April. Well, give it time. Give it time. If no one's enforcing this ordinance, then it shouldn't exist. Because there's a lot of red flags here. So if you're saying like no one's needed to enforce it, then guess what? Mayor and city council, it doesn't need to exist. Get rid of this ordinance. There's no reason for it. And all it's doing is trying to help. It's just trying to help horrible activity from law enforcement. It's trying to give shield to law enforcement conducting brutality. That's all it's doing. There's no reason for it. And it's way too vague. You already can't enter a crime scene. There is no reason for this ordinance. There's no reason for anything resembling this ordinance ever, period. So guess what, Mayor Ramiro? Not good enough. Not good enough. All right. So that's a follow-up on what's going on in Tucson, Arizona. Lovely town. We were just there in February. Before touring ended, Tucson was one of the towns Graham Elwood and I got to. All right. So here's something that's happening in California. Going to go here for a bit. Coronavirus. California judiciary is set to vote on ending the emergency $0 bail eviction protections. So we're going to San Francisco with California counties reopening after months of suppressing. I love the verbiage from this article right away. This is from MSN, by the way. With California counties reopening after months of suppressing economic and social activity. Yeah, that was the point of the shutdown. We want to suppress economic and social activity. Anyway, the state's judicial rulemaking body will decide on rescinding eviction protections for renters and the emergency $0 bail schedule designed to keep low-level offenders from adding to coronavirus risks at local jails. Why do you think they're doing that? This is why I wanted to bring this up today. Why do you think they're doing that? Here's why I think they're doing that. I think they're doing that because they want to make it easier to throw protesters in jail. That's why. So you take away that $0 bail, all of a sudden it's going to be easier for them to throw protesters in jail and keep them there. They're already pulling these stunts where they're arresting people, not reading them their Miranda rights, taking them to jails and going, oh, it's too crowded, we're just going to let you go. That's just a stunt. That's just the cops trying to scare people and intimidate people because they know they have no grounds or basis to arrest people. And they did it to Fiorella over at the Convo Couch. She talked about it on this show and on the Convo Couch. They do it to journalists. They want to intimidate people. Well, now with the $0 bail going away, if it goes away, it'll be easy for them to throw protesters in jail and keep them there. And that's what they want. That's why they're doing this. That is exactly why they're doing this. This has little to do with the pandemic itself or the whole, well, we're opening up, so we don't need this as much anymore. No. This has everything to do with, here's an opportunity for us to rescind something that's going to make it easier with it being gone. It's going to make it easier for us to throw protesters in jail and keep them there. That's why they're doing this. That's why they're doing this. So here we go. The State Judicial Council has set a Wednesday deadline, that's today, to vote on whether or not to end emergency orders, which were instituted in late March and early April. So the Judicial Council is going to vote on this thing. And we'll keep an eye on this and we'll follow it. And just keep in mind, that's why they're doing it. They're doing it so they can keep protesters in jail easier. Good job, California, the progressive utopia. Way to go. And, you know, guys, over at Fox News, they have their priorities straight. They really do. They worry about the important things, and they worry about those important, the marginalized among us. That's what Fox News is always very concerned about. And, you know, who's very marginalized right now are statues. And we really need to take a moment of silence and just take a moment to recognize the importance of these statues. Here's a video clip I want to share with you. It's going to be hard to watch because your heart is going to go out to these statues, and you're going to be very concerned for these statues.
It was destroyed in 2 major cities overnight.
Here, hold on. Hold on. Let me start it from the beginning there. Get your tissues ready. Are you okay? Can you handle this? All right, here it comes.
Statues of Christopher Columbus destroyed in 2 major cities overnight. Protesters tearing down the monument and lighting it on fire before throwing it in a lake in Richmond, Virginia. About 1,000 protesters gathered to stand in solidarity with Native Americans. And in Boston, another Columbus statue was beheaded overnight. Police are searching for those responsible. Let's look at your headlines. I'll send it back to you.
Look at this guy.
Wow, unbelievable. When's that going to stop? Columbus now.
Do you see that? Here, let's. We don't have to listen to this garbage again, but look at this guy's. Look at his face. Like, look at this here.
Wow, unbelievable. When's that going to stop? Columbus now. Meanwhile,
that is a semi-reasonable actor playing a part there. That's exactly what that is. That guy. If you are on Fox News, most of your job. And by the way, this is the entire corporate media. Same goes for CNN, MSNBC. A lot of your job, arguably I would say most of it, most of your job is faking outrage over complete bullshit. That's most of your job, pretending to be outraged over complete and utter bullshit. That's what you're there for. When's it going to stop? Columbus now? When are we? That statue had a family. That statue worked hard and got its college degree from Harvard. That statue worked hard to put its kids through college. That statue had a birthday coming up. And they harmed that statue of Christopher Columbus. By the way, I like how he said, now Columbus? We've been talking about this for a long time, pal. That's been in the conversation a long time, where it's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't celebrate this genocidal maniac who got lost. This genocidal maniac who brutalized people, who sold children for sex. Christopher Columbus was like Jeff Bezos, Jeffrey Epstein, and John Bolton all rolled into one ball of sinister evil with a shitty sense of direction. That's what Christopher Columbus was. As an Italian American, it is humiliating that Columbus Day is still a thing. And by the way, it makes zero sense. I mean, people were like, well, it's a matter of pride for Italian Americans. That's complete. That would be the equivalent of us traveling into the future and find out some other country has a Donald Trump Day, and says it's a matter of pride for American citizens. Like, no, most of us couldn't stand that guy. What are you talking about? Christopher Columbus was part of the ruling class during that time. That part of it was up in the north. They brutalized the rest of Italy. They made the rest of Italy deal with poverty. So they hated Columbus and his ilk. And that's why most of the cuisine that we have in the United States is cuisine from southern Italy and poor parts of Italy. It's the cuisine that poor people would eat. Why? Well, because those are the people who came over here. Poor people came. Your ancestors were probably from the South in most cases, and they were probably poor. Mine were. My ancestors come from the South because they were poor and they had no choice. I mean, let's be honest. Why would you leave Italy? It's a freaking paradise. Why would you leave that and come to Western Pennsylvania? Because your other option is starving and dying. That's why. That's why. So, it's so, yeah, you get it. We've talked about that a lot on this show. But think of the statues. They're concerned. Police are brutalizing protesters. A 22-year-old girl was murdered because of tear gas being used. She died. A 75-year-old man was going to hand a cop a helmet, and they cracked his skull. They shoved him and cracked his skull. Oh, and this all started because another unarmed black man was murdered in the streets by police. This time, other officers watched while he knelt on the guy's neck for 9 minutes, while the guy lost control of his bladder and was begging for his life. And medical professionals who walked by said, "Please stop. You're going to kill him." And they were shoved away by the other cops who were in on it. The other cops who were part of this murder. And over at Fox News, they're shedding some crocodile tears. Some crocodile tears for a statue of a genocidal maniac. A genocidal, murderous maniac. Where some parts of the country, they have already named his day to Indigenous Peoples Day. And I can't wait until the rest of the country follows suit. That should have happened a long freaking time ago, long overdue. And here you have these paid shills pretending to be upset over a statue. I don't give a shit about any Columbus statue. Destroying them is the most useful purpose they have ever served. When's it going to stop? When's this going to stop? No, they never look at police killing unarmed people, brutalizing black people, brutalizing citizens. They never look at that and go, when's that going to stop? They look at a Columbus statue and go, when's this going to stop? You couldn't pitch this as a series. Our current political situation, you could not pitch this as a series because they'd say, that's too unrealistic. They're sobbing over statues on the news while this is happening. There is arguably the most unrest that's ever been seen in American history at one time. And all that's happening amidst a pandemic. And they're shedding a tear over statues of a genocidal maniac. Come on. That's too much. When's it going to stop? Think of the statues. Think of the statues. The statue was a man of faith. So dumb. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying. And then we're going to dismount today. Show's a little shorter today than typical. Mostly because I have no friends to talk to. Don't have anyone to talk to. What's up, Poopy Cakes? You're awesome, Ron. Love your commentary. Thank you so much, Poopy Cakes. I appreciate that very, very much. And thank you for your super chat contribution. I hope you are well and safe. Cale Jones, Biden is a corpse, an Egyptian mummy. And even his corpse is polling higher than Trump. Is he right now? Here's something. You guys that watch this show regularly, you know that I've been saying I think there's about a 5% chance that Joe Biden wins this thing. And the only way it will happen, it will not be Joe Biden beating Donald Trump. It will be Donald Trump beating Donald Trump. And because amidst the pandemic, you never know what could happen. That's the only way I see Joe Biden beating Donald Trump. Now, since I have said that, Donald Trump has put his own people under martial law and overseen the tear gassing of American citizens and called for brutal violence and shooting of American citizens while he bunkered himself down in the White House. That's what has happened since I said that. So I think now, I don't know who's going to win this thing. I really don't know. I don't know which right-wing plutocrat alleged rapist is going to win this thing. It really could be either one at this point because, I said if something like there's a 5% chance, well, that 5%, that for instance I gave has happened. I think that was, if imposing martial law on your own people and overseeing the tear gassing of your own people, that might be enough that even someone like Joe Biden might actually win. So who knows? So I would say now it's about, I would say now, and I'm just, by the way, I'm just giving an objective thought here. I think it's about 55-45. 55% Trump still wins this thing. 45% Joe Biden might win this thing. And who knows? Something crazy might happen. There might be more crazy stuff. In our world, you never know. Chris Kelly, thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. I love the thumbs up. I appreciate that very much. Poopy Cakes, Kale Jones, Chris Kelly, thank you very much for your Super Chat contributions. And to everyone out there, thank you so much for tuning in. Be safe, be well, be, just be chill, right? I don't know. That's actually probably not the right message right now. We shouldn't be chill right now. We should be out protesting while also maintaining distancing as best we can. It's hard to social distance at a protest. I've tried it. It can be done. It's not easy. Sometimes it's like, yeah, you can pull it off. Other times, yeah, you can't. That's just not going to happen. You do the best you can. But, just do the best you can. I feel like that's a solid message. Thank you guys again for your Super Chat contributions. Again, Poopy Cakes, Kale Jones, and Chris Kelly. I appreciate it very much. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Steve says this. I like this. Be excellent to one another. There you go. That's what I was looking for. I like that. Thank you, Steve. Be excellent to one another. There you go. And in the meantime, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And in the meantime, the drill. Lucy, she says meow. I say peace. Peace.